Hey, welcome everybody. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. We've just gone live, but I'm going to give probably another 30 seconds or so before we get started, just to allow any last minute attendees the opportunity to jump in. So about 30 seconds from now, we'll get started. Awesome. I can see the attendees list and I can see a lot of people joining now. So excellent traffic coming in. Good to see you all. Hope everyone's having a great day today. Alrighty. I think that's good. I think we're going to go ahead and get started now. So welcome to the Linnworks Product Tour Series. My name is Vince. I'm a pre-sales engineer here at Linnworks, and it'll be my pleasure today to take you through the presentation. We'll be picking the series up with a quick review of Linnworks, and then on to an overview of our shipping management capabilities and how Linnworks provides tools to help you grow, automate, and be in control of your e-commerce operations. If you missed our first session, an introduction to Linnworks, you'll be able to access that on demand through the link in the resources panel. It's going to be over here or over here, kind of depending on where you've got that set on your screen. And I'll do my best to answer any questions that you guys have during the session. Go ahead and post those in that Q&A box there on the side. I'm fortunate today. I've actually got a team working behind the scenes to help me with those questions. So those may be answered during the presentation. You may see answers popping up, and that's my awesome support team in the background working to help keep me up to speed on those questions. Again, if you haven't seen that first Linnworks 101 session, Introduction to Linnworks, again, that should be available to you in the resources panel to the left or to the right here. And if this is your first session with Linnworks, go ahead and check that out after this one, because it'll give you kind of a more broad perspective, a broad overview of the Linnworks platform. Today, we're going to be really focused on that shipping management aspect. And then, of course, if you guys would like to have your own personalized demo specific to your organization, where you and I get to chat over a Zoom call, I'll take you through the system and answer questions, and really speak to your organization's specific needs with Linnworks. Would really like to do that as well. I'd really like to hear your story and understand the issues that you're having and how we might help you and your organization become more efficient through e-commerce operations as well. So go ahead and book a demo with me or another one of our sales engineers if you'd like to get into that. Cool. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's go ahead and get to the next slide there, if we could. Awesome. So we kind of already talked about what we're going to cover today. So at the end of the presentation today, we did give you all the opportunity to kind of describe some of the scenarios that you have specifically in place that you're dealing with. I got a few responses back on that, and so we'll talk about those at the end of the presentations, along with some of that Q&A as well. Hey, look, there's me. Again, my name is Vince Stavrowsky. I live in Austin, Texas. It's morning here, so wherever you are out throughout the world, I'll say good morning to you. I've been in sales engineering in the software as a service environment for about 6 years now, just over 7 months here at Linnworks. And really kind of the thesis and the reason why I've joined the Linnworks team and why I enjoy the role of a sales engineer is because I'm very passionate about making life easier for everybody through the application of technology. And that's really kind of across the board. But I find what Linnworks does for e-commerce operators just really compelling, a really interesting piece of software that really does exactly that. It makes life easier for everybody by appropriately applying that technology. And hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate that to you today as well. All right, so Linnworks. What does Linnworks do exactly? Linnworks connects, manages, and automates e-commerce operations, empowering businesses to sell wherever their customers are and capture every revenue opportunity. Right. In addition to that, fundamentally, Linnworks helps sellers sell better online. It really does help me to think of Linnworks as a connectivity or an operational hub for e-commerce operations. I've had some really interesting conversations, learning more about how our prospects and our customers run their business, and learning more about their workflows. And I think what's really important for our audience to understand is that Linnworks really is that centralized hub. It is your source of truth. We've talked about inventory control. We've talked about process management. Today we'll be specifically covering shipping management. But it's really helpful to think of Linnworks as that central control hub, communication hub, if you will, and an operational hub that connects to a series of additional partners, channels, carriers, and other entities that you're familiar of and are critical to your e-commerce operations as well. All right, let's get on to that next slide, talking about shipping management challenges. This is really the reason why you all are here, right? So manually managing your carriers, your fulfillment partners across multiple channels can be a huge drain on efficiency and productivity. In fact, those challenges were really kind of central to the scenarios that were being presented to us by you. So we had the opportunity to ask you, hey, what are the specific challenges and scenarios that you're facing and making it difficult? And that's really kind of the core of it. Human error and innocent mistakes can have a significant impact on customer satisfaction, and scaling operations without automation can be a daunting and particularly expensive task. Linnworks looks to solve these challenges by automating as much of your workflow as possible, leading to fewer mistakes, less human error, and really effortless scalability. Pre-built connections to your shipping accounts with your preferred carriers and easily written shipping process automations streamline your fulfillment operations, all while keeping you in total commerce control. And again, kind of speaking back to the thesis of what Linnworks really does, that's really kind of our core competency right there. Here's a quick preview of just some of the global shipping providers Linnworks has connections already built for. In most cases, you're simply signing in with your existing account information, and Linnworks handles the direct communication with your providers, comparing rates, printing labels and other shipping documents, and capturing dispatch information easier than ever. If you've been on a demo with me before, or if you get into a demo with me, perhaps after this call, we can certainly dive into the specific carriers that you want to get set up with or integrate with. We can talk about the specific capabilities of those particular carriers. But we do have a really extensive list of global carriers that we work with, the 85 plus integrations. That's probably a conservative estimate to the number there. But again, really, really happy to dive into that and discuss specifically your operations with these on a personalized demo. If you do use any of the shipping aggregators, such as you see on the screen here, Linnworks has you covered again. We have pre-built connections to support these services as well, and that's directly through Linnworks also. So, if you're nervous about, hey, I use a ShipStation or a ShipBob or an EasyShip, for my fulfillment services, we got you covered. We do connect to those entities as well, which makes your operations, again, kind of streamlining that process for fulfilling those orders and getting those out. So with all that out of the way, what I'd like to do now is get into the demonstration itself. So give me just one moment and I will share my screen. Let's get into a specific Chrome tab and we'll jump into open orders within Linnworks. All right. Now, if all is good, you'll be looking at my open orders screen. Let me make sure that everybody can see that. All right, perfect. Okay, cool. All right, so this is the open orders screen in Linnworks. And I want to take a moment just to kind of describe what this screen does. And the reason I'm starting in open orders is because with regards to shipping management, this is kind of the beginning of the story here. Now, Linnworks is obviously capable of capturing your product information, cataloging your product information, connecting to channels, posting listings to those channels, providing multiple channels, the product information for your listings simultaneously. But today we're going to stay very focused on that shipping management aspect of it, and that journey really begins here in open orders. So to describe what the open order screen is, it's a dashboard where all of your orders, regardless of the channel that they're coming from, are going to funnel to this dashboard. So you can see here on the left over here, we've got Amazon orders that have come in, Shopify orders that have come in. We even have the ability to add direct orders through this particular order screen here. So if you do have an inside sales team or you're receiving phone calls or emails to place orders, you can drop those orders directly into the Linnworks system, in addition to capturing all the orders from all of your different sales channels out there as well. Linnworks offers a seamless process, allowing you to manage and control the entire life cycle of your orders, from order capture to printing shipping documents, to having the tracking and dispatch information that originates with your carrier automatically sent back to that selling channel as well. You do have the ability to view orders that have been routed to different warehouse locations. So if you're using several different warehouse locations within a region, or you've got 3PLs that you're working with that are fulfilling orders for you, we have the ability to see where those orders are being routed. And we'll talk about order routing as well, because you do have the ability to set up specific processes to automate where specific orders will go as far as your warehouse locations or your 3PLs. And we'll get into that here in just a moment. Let's see, let's get into this next part here. From here, you can manage individual orders. Now, if you've ever seen a Linnworks demonstration, you've kind of been through this process already, but it's important to show here that we have an individual order here for a Patagonia men's black t-shirt, right? If I click on this order, I have all these different functions that I can commit, right? I can organize this order manually. I can drop it into a specific order folder. If I want to categorize or organize my orders, I can tag it with different tags for specific sorting purposes as well. I can manually move this order to a different fulfillment center if I want to as well. There's a list of the fulfillment centers that I have, and I can say, hey, actually, I want this order to ship out of that warehouse instead of this warehouse. Those types of functions, we can always come in and manually adjust or manually affect these orders that way. With regards to shipping, from here, again, you'll always be able to get shipping quotes, change the service that this order is going to be shipped on. Again, a lot of manual control is possible here on this order dashboard. And that's something that we always allow for, or we encourage, if needed, we always enable our customers to come in and manually manipulate the order. However, we would much prefer and recommend that you automate as much of this order processing as possible. That's really kind of speaking to the core competencies of Linnworks as a whole is, let's set up the automations. Let's get the software working for you. Let's employ that technology to make your life easier, right? And that all comes around with, setting up the rules engine, setting up automations, and really getting the software to do a lot of the processing and automating a lot of your workflow for you to take the human error element out of that, as well as give you guys some time back in your life. We know that e-commerce operators are some of the busiest folks in the world. They need that time back. They need that time to optimize their business and make good decisions and get out of the daily, menial, repeatable tasks and get them back into actually managing their business. And that's really what we want to do from Linnworks' perspective. So even though you can come in and manually affect these orders and do a lot of manual processing in here, we're going to spend the majority of our time talking about those automations. All right. Another aspect of the order management screen that I want to talk about is the ability to send pick-pack documents to your warehouse team. Now, I realize that not every organization has their own warehouse, but many do. Many of our current customers and our prospects have even a combination of, sometimes they have their own warehouse, sometimes they have a 3PL, sometimes they have multiple of each. Sometimes their orders are being fulfilled directly by Amazon through FBA or even Walmart fulfillment services. So there's a lot of variations or different ways that orders can be fulfilled, different entities that we're connecting to. And Linnworks supports that. I think that's the major component of today's lesson as well, is to understand that you've got options when it comes to Linnworks, whether you're running your own warehouse, whether you're connecting to a 3PL, whether you're having your orders fulfilled by Amazon or Walmart, whatever the case may be. We've got you covered. We have those connections in place, and we can help you scale your business in that way. But for those of you that do have your own warehouse, you've got your own warehouse team, there are warehouse management capabilities built into Linnworks as well, including pick waves or pick pack documents. And so as an example of some of the things that we can do around that is if you wanted to batch process, a whole series of orders, maybe you come into, your warehouse in the morning, you open Linnworks and you see, hey, I've got a series of orders that I've downloaded from overnight, orders have come in. I want to generate a pick wave and deploy that to my warehouse team so they can go get started pulling items off the shelves, bringing them to the packing table and getting those ready to go. That's a huge component of warehouse operations there. And Linnworks offers you a couple different methods by which you can do that. You always have the ability to just print off a pick pack list from the orders that are selected here. That'll print off, and you can either hand that to your warehouse team to go get started on that pick process. Alternatively, you can send that data to a mobile device, either an Android or a tablet or a smartphone or an iPhone. And then you can pair that device with a Bluetooth scanner so that you can actually enforce scanning in that pick pack process as well. That's another huge component of reducing human error in some of these workflows is you have the ability to enforce that scanning process as well if you need to. If you don't need that enforcement, then you don't have to use it as well. Again, kind of speaking to Linnworks flexibility in that regard. All right. So how does this all happen? You might be thinking like, this is great. You're showing me the order screen, but what does this really mean? How does this really work? Well, the next section I want to jump into is talking about the integrations with the different carriers. I showed you on that slide earlier today of the 85 different connections that we have with carriers out there. And what I'll do is, if you're in North America, you're very familiar with these names here: FedEx, Stamps.com, connecting us to USPS and UPS services as well. But from a global perspective, we support all these different carriers here. Now, I'll scroll through this list relatively quickly here, just so you guys can get a quick glimpse of the logos that we have connections to here. And you'll see over 75 available directly through the shipping integrations page. And then through our partnerships, we also support many additional integrations as well. But again, just kind of scrolling through here to let you guys get a quick glimpse of the global network that we're connected to allow you to connect your shipping accounts to Linnworks through these connections and access your specific shipping rates, your account information, your dispatch information. It's all coming back connected specifically through Linnworks to your account. So that's an important piece of that puzzle there that I want to make sure everybody's good on. Another pretty cool aspect of the shipping management capabilities, you have the ability to map the shipping service you would like to use to all orders coming from a specific channel, or you can assign shipping services based on order or even item properties within the order using our rules engine. And we'll get into that here in just a little bit as well. But it's really important to understand that you've got kind of multiple ways you could program the system to handle or process your orders. So when I talk about being able to assign a shipping service to a specific channel, that is, if you're an FBM Amazon e-commerce operator and you want to handle all of your Amazon packages a specific way as they're coming from that channel, you have the ability to say, okay, everything coming from Amazon is going to go through this shipping methodology, and you can program some specifics around that, being able to process your orders in a very specific way for very specific channels. And that's, of course, you can do that for various different channels. If you've got Shopify, you've got BigCommerce, and Miracle, or Magento, or Shopify, or all the different channels. You have the ability to set up shipping rules or shipping processes specific to those channels. In addition to that, if that's not quite going to work for your organization, or you have a more complex shipping process or decision tree that you're going through, we have what we refer to as the rules engine in Linnworks. And what this does is this allows the individual user to set up automations within the system. That is, they can create order processing workflows directly in the system themselves, and then schedule those to run on their orders. So really the order processing, the decision making starts to become more and more hands-off for the individual operator. They're allowing the software to make decisions, apply rules, and process orders much faster and without the risk of human error, really kind of leaning into that efficiency idea and the reduction of mistakes idea as well. That, of course, elevates the customer service aspect for your business. Of course, your customers are going to be happier. They're going to rate your business higher, with regards to customer reviews. And that all kind of rolls up into again, kind of the thesis, if you will, of Linnworks. So as an example of what we can do with these types of automations, I want to show you very quickly a shipping automation here. And again, if you've seen a Linnworks demo before, you've probably seen me talk about this. But if this is your first time, let me kind of explain how this works and what's actually happening here with this particular rule or this automation in place. So this is an automation that we've built, I should say, just for our demonstration site. But you as an end user would have access to this interface. You would be able to build your own decision trees and set up your own automations here, either with or without the help of Linnworks, coming in and showing you testing and kind of giving you a guided tour of this, if you will. But essentially what's happening here is the order is downloaded from your channel and it hits this start block. And then the order is queried by the Linnworks system to decide what to do with it. In this case, the Linnworks system is asking the order, where did you come from? Did you come from Amazon, eBay, or Shopify? And we've got these channels listed specifically here because those are channels that we have connected to this particular site. But for you, it could be anything else. It could be, Walmart. It could be, Etsy. It could be another channel that you're connected to that you want to process from a specific way. Pardon me. In this case, let's say, the order came from Amazon. So we're simulating an FBM merchant here. So we're saying, okay, the Amazon order came in. Now, the next thing I want to know is, how should I ship this order? Is it a prime order? Well, if that's the case, if it is a prime order, then we have a dedicated prime shipping methodology already set up that we know works best for us. And we would go ahead and assign that shipping methodology to any order that came in as a prime order. That's just an automatic rule that we've got set up. And so we don't have to worry about, hey, how are we going to ship out those prime orders now? We've got that nailed down, and the software does that for us. It takes care of that for us. We've also got orders that might be going to a U.S. territory. So Virgin Islands, Guam, Puerto Rico, and there may be some complexities on shipping to those different locations, right? And in this case, I've actually told my warehouse team, hey, if we've got any orders going to any of these U.S. territories, I actually want human eyes on that. I want somebody to come in and validate that, check that, make sure it's good to go because of the various complexities around that. So what I can do in that case is, if I realize, through a postal code or through an address or through a regional code that, hey, this item or this order is actually going to be shipped to a U.S. territory, I want to add that to a folder and have a human being come in and actually take a look at that order and make some decisions around that. So I can sort that order to a folder, have it parked there, and that order will basically sit there until the human being has had a chance to come in and take a look at that and make some decisions around that. Outside of that, the orders are either going to be small shipments or large shipments as we've defined them. So if it's not a prime order and it's not an order going to a U.S. territory, then it's going to fall into these other two categories here, small shipment or large shipment. Now, keep in mind, these are rules that are specific to this particular instance of Linnworks. That is my demonstration site that you're looking at right now. You, as an individual operator, you might have multiple other rules that you want in place. You might have other qualifications for small shipment or large shipment. Like you might have medium shipments or extra large shipments, right? Other examples that you might want to handle differently, and that's perfectly fine. This is really just to show you an example of how you might set this up. So in this case, we've defined what a small shipment is, right? It's a box that's under a certain weight or under a certain dimensions, and then we've got large shipments. So that might be boxes that are over a certain weight or over a certain dimensions, and we're going to handle those two orders differently. We're going to handle those shipments differently. And what I've done here is I've actually assigned small shipments to a particular methodology. This is how I'm going to handle those orders, as well as large shipments. All right, I've assigned a specific methodology, shipping methodology that I'm going to use to handle those orders as well. And so I've got those assigned. So what I've effectively done here is I've allowed the software to handle this order all the way into deciding, how is this order actually going to be shipped? And we also have the ability then to start automatically printing the documents for these orders. And so if you could imagine for a moment that you come in the morning to your warehouse or your operations, and you see that, hey, some orders have come in overnight. The orders are already sorted. They were sorted automatically when they were downloaded from their channel. I've already staged them. We've got shipping labels or shipping documents, ready to be printed, or maybe they've already printed, right? Maybe we've set it up so that automations have already printed those labels. They're sitting there waiting. All I really need to do now is send that pack list or that pick list to my warehouse team, get those guys picking those orders, bring them back to the table, and all of our documents and all our processing is already laid out. We're ready to go. We can go ahead and get started in getting those packages out the door. And you can see how that could even be the same for these other channels that orders are coming from. So again, really the idea is that you're setting up these automations, you're setting up these rules ahead of time, you're spelling out how you want your operations to be handled, how you want your workflows to go. The software understands that, it starts processing that information, and then the humans come in and they do the work that human hands have to do. Ultimately taking a lot of that decision-making process, kind of that repeatable task processing out of the hands of the humans, out of the minds of the humans, letting them really focus on what's important as far as managing the business, handling the exceptions, and really focusing on growing their business rather than the daily tasks that are oftentimes eat so much time. Cool. So that's a lot about the rules engine. And that's not everything. The rules engine can do quite a bit of different things. And we've got some good documentation around the rule engine capabilities, what some of the properties are that they can look for, some of the components within orders, or even at the item level that the rules engine can analyze, look at, and then make decisions upon and take actions upon as well. And so if you want to dive more into that, if you want to get a more detailed analysis of that, particularly that's very specific to your operations, schedule that demo with us, right? I'd love to see what you've got cooking. I'd love to see how Linnworks can help apply some of these automations and these systems to really help you guys make your operations more efficient. All right, let's get back into that open order screen. Let's see, we covered some of this stuff already, directly integrating into your global shipping services with your account details. We talked about being able to connect to those different providers, those shipping providers. We talked about being able to map shipping services directly to the orders coming from specific channels, or being able to assign shipping services based on order or even item level details using the rules engine. Another cool aspect of the system's capabilities here is with regards to shipping, we can actually ask all of our providers for quotes on a particular order. So if you're still in the process of determining, hey, who's the best provider for a particular order? Am I going to get a better rate with FedEx or UPS or another provider? Let me just quickly grab some of these quotes. And so the system can actually use your account connected to those providers, reach out, tell those providers about the order that you've got staged here, and those providers can reach back and say, hey, this is how much it's going to cost using that particular service. So you get that quote information back from the system, and then that'll help you make effective business decisions about how you're going to process your orders. The other great aspect of this is we know that some carriers require specific label formats. And that's something that Linnworks has the ability to do as well. So if you're printing shipping labels, you can either print a generic Linnworks shipping label, right? The address to, from, pretty standard shipping label. But if you're using a specific carrier, it's likely that they want you to use their label. And so that's another aspect of the connections that we have with those carriers, is that if so desired, we can connect and say, hey, print the shipping label from this particular carrier. And that comes through Linnworks. You don't have to, go out to an external system to print those labels. You can do that directly from Linnworks. Again, kind of consolidating all these different operational means under a single platform. And then finally, on the back end of all that is once that order is processed by that particular carrier, right? They give you that shipping label. They provide you a tracking number. Another great aspect of Linnworks is we take that dispatch information, and by that I mean that tracking number, the order status, and we actually push that back to the original sales channel, and that happens automatically. So you're not having to manage for each individual customer's order. Hey, customer, here's your tracking number, here's your dispatch info, here's your status, your order status. That transmits back to the original selling channel automatically, and then it's provided to your customer that way as well. Now, there are other means to reach out and communicate with your customers through Linnworks. We certainly have the email capabilities to reach out and do that in certain circumstances, but generally we're going to communicate with your customer through the channel that they made that purchase on. Again, that happens in an automated fashion as well. Outstanding. Okay, so I did have another section, a small section here about the rules engine as well, but we've already kind of covered that. We went through that rules engine section there. So now I'm actually really kind of interested to get into some of those questions and talk about some of the specific scenarios that we had. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen now. And let's see, that goes back to the deck. Awesome. So let's do this. Let's quickly summarize. Linnworks is really designed to help you efficiently grow and scale your operations from one central platform. Again, that's something that I really want to make sure is clear, is that Linnworks is, again, designed to be that centralized control system, right? It's meant to be that central hub where all of your product information is stored, all of your orders are aggregated, you're listing from that central platform to all the different channels that you have there. Linnworks is really the source of truth for all of that data. Now, we have the ability to pull that product data, pull those orders in from a variety of different locations, but it's really important that it's understood that Linnworks is that central control platform. And really, we want to be that one platform that you go to manage your e-commerce operations. And that includes the automations that you saw today. So automating your commerce operation with programmatic shipping rules, order processing rules. You saw some examples of that today as well. And connecting with major carriers and shipping integrations to control your operations. We have the ability to connect to those providers. We have the ability to reach out and communicate with that global shipping network that exists out there and utilize the data back and forth with those entities as well. Centralizing your data with one integrated back-end solution, that is Linnworks, ensuring a seamless post-purchase experience for your customers, setting up that great customer experience to help you guys boost your revenue, boost your reviews, get more attention onto your products, into your operations. Again, that's why we're here. That's why we do what we do. All right, with that, I'm going to take a quick peek into the questions here. Hopefully, our team has been answering those questions as they've been coming in. I haven't had a chance really to pay attention too much to that while doing the presentation, but I thought those guys probably got you covered. We did have a couple of scenarios that came in early. As folks were registering for the, let's go back. As they were registering for the webinar, they were able to input their scenarios. And I want to talk about a couple of different ones that really had a very similar theme, and it was this disconnection between various systems. So we've had a couple of customers write in their scenarios, or I should say prospects, have written in their scenarios, and they have to do a lot of copying and pasting addresses, tracking numbers, going from one system to another. And what's really happening is, in those scenarios, the human beings are the connectors between various systems, right? We've got an order platform, or let's just say we've got a channel, we've got an order management platform, we've got a shipping platform, we've got a shipping service that we're connecting to. And if those systems aren't talking to each other, then what you've got is a human sitting in front of a laptop doing copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, moving things around, providing different information to those different systems because they're not talking to each other automatically. And that's a huge issue that Linnworks is specifically designed to solve. So again, with that idea that we're that centralized hub that has all those connections out there, one of the main purposes for those connections is to transfer data from one system to another. So you've got your channel that generates order data. That order data automatically comes into Linnworks, and we're able to capture that order data. Linnworks understands and is able to process that order information. Then that order information is then communicated to your shipping provider from Linnworks, right? So that's another automated step where it's just data being transferred from one situation to another. And it happens automatically, and it doesn't require a human to go in there and copy paste or mistype a tracking number or an address or a name or a product ID number, whatever the case may be. Let the software handle that for you, because it can do it a lot faster and a lot more accurately than even I can do that, right? And I feel you guys probably feel the same way about that as well. But so many of those scenarios that were written in were about having to manually manage that process. And that's absolutely something that we want to have Linnworks do that for you, so you all can focus on the more important aspects of your business. Cool. And then lastly, if you weren't able to hang on for the whole time for this webinar, perfectly understandable. This webinar, as well as some of the others that we've done in the future, will be available to you on demand. So if you want to watch this again, or if you've got somebody you want to show this to make a case of why you would be interested in bringing Linnworks into your organization, certainly take advantage of that. Grab those webinars out there on demand, listen to the recording, and then reach out to us for a demonstration. Because I'd love to get to know your operations a lot better, understand what your specific challenges are within the market space, and hopefully demonstrate to you how Linnworks can solve some of those challenges that you're facing. All right, guys. Thank you so much. This was a relatively quick one, only about 30 minutes, 35 minutes there. But again, sincerely appreciate y'all jumping in. We've got 27 attendees today. Thank you guys so much for jumping in and watching this. And I hope to talk to y'all soon. So thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.